Happy June, happy Monday. It's going to be a beautiful week. I'm very happy about the weather so far. I wanted to do two different readings this morning, and they both I thought were interesting. One came from the weekend, and it uses the word surrender, and we reference that word a lot in our practice. Surrendering doesn't mean giving up on your authority. It's surrendering to move forward. It means accepting what is unchangeable instead of fighting a battle you cannot win. And this is a message I'm instilling to my son often, that we need to stop always having to be right. It will end friendships, it won't go well with bosses and teachers. And surrendering involves knowing the difference between what you're capable of changing and what you're not capable of changing. Then figuring out how to come to terms with that reality. When you feel as if you're banging your head against an unmovable wall, that is a good time to surrender. And we surrender in our poses when we hit our physical edge. Just as there is a give and a take to everything in life, there are times when all the pushing in the world won't get you what you want. Let go, releasing your old thinking in order to reform a relationship with what will work with you, not against you. And I use that word in yoga poses because every single day we practice, depending on our age, our mood, what the weather was like, did we eat enough? There are so many factors that take into account how our body's going to receive that pose in that moment. I would say the only thing that you have full control over will be how long you're going to hold a breath. And I work on lengthening the exhale to slow down my sympathetic nervous system, to shut down that fight or flight. In a pose, I'll say surrender because there's limitations, the tissue, the elasticity of my skin, how much water is in my muscle or my skin today in terms of my flexibility. Did I overdo it on the weekend with a different activity which will inhibit my limitations? In surrender, if we were doing a yin class, and maybe I'll pull out our yin poses for tomorrow, you set your body into a position and then you truly surrender. Gravity does the rest of the work, moving within my body's limitations. So if you think of your body as a sack of bones floating and contained in this skin, just underneath this layer of skin is fascia, then muscles and water and all the liquids and nervous system, and then finally the bones. We think of a skeleton as this hard, rigid thing, but actually the exterior wrapped around that skeleton is a soft, pliable thing. So when I shift my body into a pose or an asana, and then I surrender, I let it come into whatever version of that shape it's supposed to be. And maybe there's some days when I can very easily do a forward fold, and there's other days where I can't. And that's because you're a living being. So today's, there's two more readings. I'm going to do this really quickly so you can lie down and listen to this. What we want and what we need. What is the difference between our wants and our needs? And this is a good question for people in the Western world. Our needs, such as food, health, and shelter, are necessary to our survival. Our wants, while not necessarily, can still meaningfully enhance our lives, like wanting to do a yoga practice. To lead healthy lives, we must first distinguish our needs from our wants. Ask yourself what is essential to my well-being. Once we've addressed our needs, we can then ask ourselves, which of my wants will positively affect my life? And that reminds me of a phrase I hear often. Everything I put in my mouth, will this lengthen my life or shorten my life? Will this thought benefit my day or will it kind of inhibit and cloud my day? Which will bring me happiness? Which of my wants will positively affect my life? Which will bring me happiness, healthiness, stability, and peace of mind? In this manner, we can embrace the pleasure of our wants in a healthy and joyful, meaningful way. And the last piece, this is a lot of information. Today, June 1st, open and receive the world, which reminds me of surrender, being open. There's a phrase we use in Anusara Yoga, which we don't practice so much anymore. It became a cult. Open your heart to grace. And you'll hear that phrase a lot, which is a long-winded way of saying surrender. Through a physical yoga practice, we cultivate openness in our physical body. So we do these movements to help with this openness, but it has to start up here and here. It is equally important to cultivate openness in our minds and our hearts. How do we create the openness off the mat? So all this work we do with our physical body needs to be something more once we lead our lives, when we leave our mat. To open is to soften the barriers that we put up between ourselves and the world. Opening can be a physical sensation, like the relaxing of music or the loosening of a tight jaw. Opening can be the easing of our defenses, enabling us, for example, to hear what others are trying to say, even if it's unfamiliar or it's in a disagreement with what we think and believe. Opening invites us to connect more deeply with the world around us. And when we open to receive the world, we are received by the world. And I'm sure you have some friends or family members, even in your sphere, where open discussion is effortless. You actually leave that discussion or experience with them feeling light and illuminated. You have some new ideas, something to chew on. And then you have other discussions where you feel like you're banging your head against the wall. And I am finding myself doing this more and more. Let's agree to disagree and change the subject. And when you're working with behavioral children, they teach you to do a thing called distract and redirect. So instead of keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result, you switch the subject. You might agree that this is never going to be resolved. So that openness, that surrender, we're going to do it with the physical body, but can you translate into your lives off the mat? Let's come on the floor and we'll do some work with our body to create some openness. We haven't been consistent with our mat work. I do enjoy that. I've had a couple people ask about physically in class classes, and that is something that we're still working with the Ontario government to find out what the timelines are. Some people were saying early July. The date kind of keeps moving as COVID numbers change. It's a fluid medical thing. It's science we're talking about. I will continue to offer indefinitely our normal classes when we're allowed in person, so that if you prefer to be in person, I have a couple people who've said they prefer in person. I will also record them, so then I'll email them for the people who prefer to do it at home. So let's come on our back. We're going to take the process to come down on our back just as meaningful as once we reach the floor. So I'm going to slowly lower down, and I'm visualizing each bone in the spine. You've heard me reference this as a string of pearls. So one precious backbone at a time, and then I'm going to finally lay my head down, that final big pearl. Arms are nice and wide, palms turned up, and just let the body get heavy and relaxed. So this is like a mini surrender. I feel gravity pulling the weight of my flesh to the floor. My legs naturally want to fall open, so I'm not going to fight what my body wants to do. Take a big breath and notice your limitations in that breath first. Until your physical body surrenders, the breath might not be effortless. And that's the whole goal of our physical practice, is to create effortless ease in our breath. So maybe I'll bring my soles together and let my knees fall wide. We often come into this pose, reclined goddess, later on. Maybe I'll do it right now. I can feel the soles of my feet pressing into each other. Engage my core slightly and press my lower back down. And it's feeling heavy and full, opening the back of my rib cage, but I notice my hips are tight. So I'm going to wait patiently. Let's do 5 breaths here. And looking for that sensation of surrender in all the different nooks and crannies or corners of your body. And just as you notice the ease that's going to happen with gravity and your body working together, notice that limitation or the hesitation or the resistance. And there's this ongoing dance in our body, surrender and resistance, surrender and resistance. 2 more breaths. I'm noticing resistance in my sinuses, maybe your hips, maybe your fingernails won't relax. And then just open our shoulders a little. Let's start to move our arms up on a diagonal. So we're going to subtly fix the range of motion in our shoulders. And then I'm going to slowly bring them up closer. I can feel my belly wants to pop, so I want to tone the belly or the diaphragm. And now I have the arms, biceps beside my ears, palms turned up, open. That's really tight in my hips. I'm going to close for a moment. I'm going to focus on my arms And maybe you're gently rocking side to side or windshield wiper. So while we're here, for the shoulders, I'm going to slowly slide my arms back to a T. And option to bring them all the way down by your hips, keeping your palms turned up, keeping the shoulders down. And then back to a T. And then back to warrior one arms, but the palms are turned up. And can you even bring your thumbs touching without looking? So that's working on proprioception and connections in the brain. Engage your core, press your back down, arms to a T. And then back down by your side, but keeping the palms turned up. So it's going to feel foreign. My shoulders want to lift. Wide to a T. Back to warrior one arms, but the palms are turned up. And maybe touch your thumbs, make that triangle we do above our head without looking. And let's do this fluidly. 2 circle rounds, your choice how slowly you go. So I'm going to open wide, come down to my side, not pop my chest. Try to keep the flesh of the arms on the floor. Arms to a T, back up and touch. All the way down. I feel like I'm a bird flapping my wings. And then back to center, knees to chest, little boat. So that range of motion exercise I modified it. It was something in the shoulder therapeutics, physiotherapy feed I was watching. I take it for granted. I think females tend to have more open shoulders or more flexible there. And as a lot of males build more muscle and they have a higher muscle percentage in the shoulders, their mobility is restrained. Let's do some egg beaters, one direction then the other. And then feet in the sky. Oh, so tight. We've done this in a while. Point and flex. Alternately, we're going to be doing a couple different variations of forward fold. So standing one, a seated one, wide and narrow. So I want to work on the back of this back side of my body. Maybe just use some heat. Or dig in there, or extreme point and flex. So I'm stretching the sheath of skin wrapped around my leg muscles. Almost like when you have to stretch some new pantyhose or tights to put on. Legs fall wide for a moment. Oh, let's check in with my initial, what's your first level of wide leg? I feel a lot of hesitation and resistance, so I'm going to give it a little massage. Maybe you're going to support the inner knee flesh so the stretching isn't too dramatic for you. Or maybe your arms are to a T and you let it happen passively. And then close your legs. Oh, knees to chest, little boat or circles. Let's take our knees to the left, double leg spinal twist. Right arm extends out, palm turned up. I want your brain to zero in on the resistance in this pose, and I immediately feel tightness on this side body, down my right side, maybe your pec, inside your armpit, and gravity wants to open up this arm, but my body's resisting. So listen to that dance, resistance, surrender, resistance, surrender. Think of it as a negotiation. If you've ever had to negotiate for a house, or you've been in another country in the market and you're trying to negotiate a price of something you're buying, and you each give and take a little back and forth till you find this middle piece. And that's what I feel like my skin and tightness in any pose is. Close your eyes, use your breath. Purposely zone in on that resistance dance inside each shape we make. And then help yourself come back to center, little boat or circles. One direction and the other. Let's take both knees to the floor on the right. Double leg spinal twist. Release the weight of that extended left arm. Notice the resistance. I'm feeling it here. So we're going to give it a little help. I might massage, I might spread the left fingers and anchor them. I might take the weight of my right hand and help to deepen this twist. Or I might arrange my bones in this position and surrender and wait. And think of your exhales when you're blowing up a big, think of a pool toy or a ball. The exhales expanding the potential of the shape of this pose. Back to center, little boat or circles. Let's draw right leg in tight, left foot in the air, flex or relax, and then slowly lower the weight of that left leg. And when you feel like the body can't stretch any further than the left hip, your left hand's going to take right knee over, make the shape, single leg spinal twist, anchor the right shoulder, close your eyes, find that sensation of resistance or refusal to go into the full twist. Let's take 3 breath rounds here and see if our body can surrender a little deeper into the twist. One more breath. And then back to center. Oh, little boat or circles. Left leg in tight, right leg in the air. Your choice, flex or soft. And slowly lower the weight of the right leg down. Noticing that nice stretch in the right hip as you draw the left thigh in. In any pose, especially when we're compressing the belly, you have a choice between passive, I literally make the shape and I wait for gravity, or more assertive, pulling this in. Finally, right hand takes left knee over, single leg spinal twist, anchoring that left shoulder. Back to center, little boat or circles. So let's get our strap, or if you need to use a towel or a belt, have it by your side. We're gonna take our feet in the air, point and flex, roll out the ankles, fan the toes. Legs fall wide. Squeeze and release the inner thighs. Arms to a T. Let's do this 3 breaths. Passive stretching of the inner thighs and the hips. And I'm going to close my legs so I can focus on just the right leg. So I'm going to interlace my hands behind the right thigh. Left leg lowers slowly. And give that right leg a massage. Calf. Back of the hamstring, point and flex. Roll out the ankle. Fan the toes. Strap to the ball of the right foot. Holding this leg in place. So first I have my stacked bones. without even pulling anything. I just want to see what's the response of my body, bringing it into alignment. If I did a lot of work this weekend out of my norm, maybe did different gardening, this stretch is going to be annoying to you. Some of you also have said that you're tight from gardening, and I do recommend a little tiny stool. I like an old Rubbermaid one or one from the dollar store. It really helps me. Instead of crouching, I just keep shifting the stool further down. And then slowly start to stir this leg, one direction then the other. Back to center, both straps into the right hand holds left hip down, and open. 2 breaths here. Taking that leg to the sky, Old Faithful, strap into the left hand, take that leg slightly to the left, 1 or 2 inches. Back to center, release, and thighs to chest, little boat or circles. Feet in the air once more, right foot flex, lower that leg out of the way. And let's massage left leg on its own, especially into the hamstring. You can interlace your hands behind the thigh to support it. Strap to the ball of the left foot. So wish me luck. I'm starting the Whole30 clean eating again today. I've let my COVID baby get out of control. She's too big, and I need to feel healthier. So, in a nutshell, you can Google it. No dairy, no grains, which is essentially no grain carbs, no sugar, no alcohol. What's the other one? It does say no legumes, but I, this month, will let myself still have some black beans or chickpeas, because I like to put them in a salad. But guess what? At the end of 30 days, I do feel better, and I have to make this commitment to my health and my joints, my skin, my congestion. It gets rid of a lot of mucus inside your sinuses, especially if you have allergies. And really the big one I wanted to was flatter belly. But the big one is I want to have energy. I felt so much better when I did it, and I attempted to start it so many times during COVID. But I'm being gentle to myself, but the party's over. There's no more celebrating of birthdays or eating things that aren't good for me, and I have to keep remembering that line, will this make my health longer or better or worse? Both straps in the left hand, release that leg out to the left. And Nina also told me that when she and I were talking about the Whole30 list, and I printed a sheet, you can put it on the fridge. Eventually you just memorize no dairy, no grains, no sugar, no alcohol. I think that's the main thing. She said that's exactly how the Cancer Center really wants you to eat, because guess what? Your inflammation goes way down. Disease cannot live in a system with too much with an alkaline body. And if you eat a lot of the things that we talked about, specifically dairy and grains, it creates inflammation. And they're even saying, some doctors were saying that COVID can't survive in a body that's healthy or alkaline. So there's also a lot of beautiful vanity reasons why to eat it. And then leg back up to the sky, strap into the right hand, and take it 1 or 2 inches to the right. So the reason I tell you out loud that I'm doing this is because there's research that says when you make a verbal commitment, a public commitment to do something, you're actually more likely to stick to it, you're accountable, and also it's usually 30 days to create a habit. So I did really well the first time I did this in the fall. Back to the center, release. Knees to chest, low boat. And then I gave myself way too much permission to relax at Christmas, and then COVID happened, and then before you know it's my birthday month. Blah, blah, blah. These are all excuses. I want to live a good life. Let's take the knees wide. Set up for happy baby. Hands behind the thighs. And let's just use the weight of your hands for a moment. Don't force it into any shapes. Take a breath here. And then I might choose to come into full happy baby, or I might just stay here in the setup, adding a nice pressure behind the thighs. Oh, super tight. I don't want to be this tight, so I'm going to use some movement. And then back to center, feet together, bind if you can reach, or hold your ankles. Then release, and once more, back to reclined cobbler, or bend to the elbow in goddess. Close your knees, roll into a ball on your side, take a little breath. And then we're going to come up and come into tabletop for a couple quickie cat-cows, and then our sun salutations. So palms out of the shoulders, knees out of the hips, bum in the air. How does your lower back feel today? I find couch time or reading in bed is the detriment to my back. I can look up and then slowly turn into cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Neutral. And here's where if I'm feeling lethargic, I'm going to slowly come up to a standing forward fold. If I want some energy, I might hop into a forward fold. Bend your knees, let your head go. Stillness or swaying. Can you let your head be really loose? Like a rag doll. Maybe grab your elbows. Arm to the side, rise. Reach up. Exhale, fold, swan dive. Half back, fold, plant, knees. Heart to the floor. 2 breaths, sleeping cobra. Hugging everything still in midline. And then pick up your head, baby cobra. Press back dog. So we're going to hold our dog for 3 breaths every day this week. We'll move up the number of breaths instead of trying to do a 2-minute plank. Inhale 1. Exhale 1. Inhale 2. Exhale 2. So I'm choosing to go up my tiptoes. I could also try to drop to my heels. Inhale 3. Exhale 3. Right foot forward, left knee back, low lunge. Excuse my craziness. And I can stay low or tuck and rise. Hands release. Option to lift that left heel and attempt to straighten your right leg. Forward fold. Step forward, fold. Rise, heart center. Next side, inhaling up, exhale, fold. Half back, fold, plant, knees, heart between your hands, 2 breaths, sleeping cobra. Pick up your head, baby cobra. Press back, downward dog. Pedaling. Left foot forward, right knee drops, low lunge. Option to stay here or tuck and rise. Focus on your balance. Hands release, feet together, fold, rise, heart center. Once more on each side. Inhaling up, exhale, fold. Half back, fold, plant, hop, lower. 2 breaths, sleeping cobra. Pick up your heart, baby cobra. Tuck, press back dog. Pedaling, and guess what? We're going to hold it for 3 breaths. High on my tiptoes. Inhale 1. Exhale 1. Inhale 2. Exhale 2. Inhale 3. Exhale 3. Right foot forward, left foot back, high lunge. My shirt keeps falling off. So I might stay here, or hands release, feet together, fold, rise, heart center. 1 more side. Inhaling up, exhale, fold. half back, fold, plant, hop, belly.